All right, so we good to start? Zoom 2 Masters give us clearance to go?
Mhm.
Okay.
We're good?
Mr. Chairman, you can start the meeting now.
Okay. Welcome to the Monday, July 20th, 2020 meeting in the Yarmouth Board of Health. And I'm Hillard Boskin, the chairman of the board. First item we should do is take some attendance. Mary, are you there?
I am here.
Mary? Great.
Yes.
How about Deborah? Deborah?
I'm here.
No. Okay. And Charlie there? No. How about Eric?
Present.
Tough to hear you. I don't know if it's sure or not. And Director Murphy, are you present?
I am present.
Director. Okay, attendance is done. So this is a remote participation meeting, so I have one note I should be reading, and that is pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law GL 30A 18 and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing a limitation on the number of people that may gather in one location. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information such as instructions and guidelines for remote by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website at www.yarmouth.ma.us. For the public portion of this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or listen and participate in the meeting may do so. So instructions in order to do that is on the town website. If someone wants to watch it or actively participate, it's all there. Okay, so why don't we move on to the actual agenda. Hopefully everyone has the agenda page in front of them. The date is actually not June 29th, just you're not disoriented there. Okay. Public comment is the first item. If anyone who's listening in and would like to come forward and make a comment, this would be a great time to do so. Anyone calling in there? Director Murphy? Anyone calling in?
No, we have no one calling in to participate from the audience.
Hey, thanks. Okay, let's go to the second item. This is a tobacco violation A to Z convenience. And they're located at 1011 Route 28 in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts. And it's stating here in the agenda, Town of Yarmouth Town Regulation, Section 1, prohibits the sale of blunt wraps. Okay, so Director Murphy, why don't you give us a little detail on what happened there in the inspection? Thank you.
On June 29th, there was an inspector from Barnstable County Health Department that works with us during the summer on Mondays, did an inspection of the A to Z store. Oh, right there, leave that, go back, leave it to the wrap, go back right there. That's hard picture. And at that time noticed
That's the
appeared
product.
to be a blunt wrap of Frontenac King blunt wraps, which would be a violation of our tobacco regulations. A letter went out July 6th to Bhadesh Patel, A to Z convenience stores, informing him of tonight's meeting. You can go back to everybody right now, maybe. The definition that the board has for blunt wraps is in the packet. Is a wrap or a hollow tube made wholly in part from tobacco that is intended to be filled by the consumer with loose tobacco or fillers. So we have that in the definition. And then later in the regulations, blunt wraps are prohibited. So based on that, the Board of Health regulation, he was issued the order of July 6th to appear before us. Also mentioned in the order, if in fact the board finds it as an offense, it would be the second offense within a 2-year period. And also besides a $400 fine, would be a 7-day consecutive day suspension. There was a previous violation on July 5th, 2018 for the sale of a flavored tobacco. So that's the general background of why he's here. If I can speak on the blunt wrap itself, I think that was a tough picture to see. I think the clearer picture came out to each individual packet, I hope. I think, Hillard, you can hold it up, so I think maybe the people at home can see it better than that one up on the screen. There you go. That blunt wrap does not say blunt wrap on it. Ones that were sold in the past are a little different. I don't know if you have that there. Also, Phil, do you have the other one, Hillard, that you could hold up?
I do not.
Okay. They usually say blunt wrap on it. Oh, there we go. Badesh is holding it up, and it says blunt wrap on it. And it's a little bit smaller, and there's two tubes inside, which fits more of our definition. And it says blunt on each of the packets. When you look at it, he's bringing it out now. You can see it's a tube that you put your tobacco in and smoke it that way. What we have found now is a little bit different. So the packet does not say blunt wrap on it. Badesh also looked at the Board of Health list of flavored tobacco that he keeps in a 3-ring binder with glassine pages, and it was not listed in the binder as a flavored tobacco. So what it is a flat tobacco leaf. So it's really not a tube, it's just a non-tobacco leaf that is used for people to roll their own tobacco, cigarette, cigar. So it's a little, the definition is a little bit not as clear in our regulation, because you can roll your own tobacco, and people do that at home. They have their own tobacco rollers, so they could do it that way. You do have to be 21 to pick this up product, and that would be allowed under that age. So the owner that's present here at the meeting with his son understand they can't sell flavored tobacco, which he checked on, understands that he can't sell blunt wraps, and was not aware that this would be considered a blunt wrap. So that's the general background. I'll let them explain maybe a little bit more detail, or yourself, Chairman, if you want to hear with them first.
Yeah, I can just give a better description or read it, what I was putting up in front of the camera there. So the package is about 3 inches by about 7 inches long, plastic. And the front of it is basically saying original Fronto, is it King or Ring?
King.
Anyway, it says 100%. Okay, 100% dark. It says there's sort of a crown on it. It says, warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical on the back. Basically, there's an open area, clear area of the package where you can look in and see sort of a wrinkly brown looking something. We seem to know that it's a sheet of tobacco, I guess. So that's what it looks like. It says 100% natural tobacco leaf. So that's sort of what the package is, or where it looks like. But thanks for coming in, gentlemen. Perhaps you can fill us in with some more information.
Yeah. Hello, Board of Yarmouth. So my name is Harsh Patel, and this is my father, Badresh Patel. and I'm going to be speaking on his behalf. And I just want to open up by saying in the past, we have cooperated and would love to cooperate with the town and state in ensuring that we meet the guidelines given to us. And as tobacco retailers, we would like to work with the town to make sure we're not breaking any regulations going on forward. But as retailers, it's kind of tough for us to understand what we can and cannot sell. And we're definitely adjusting to this new situation and all the new restrictions coming into place. And we take extreme precaution in monitoring what we put on our shelves and who we are selling to in order to make sure we comply with the regulations. But some communication and confusion and miscommunication between us and some ambiguity in the definition have brought us here. And we were charged for a violation for selling Fronto. But on the package, we kind of didn't really know how to take it. We didn't really understand how it was classified as a blunt wrap. That's why we were selling it at the time, because it's labeled and packaged as a natural tobacco leaf and not a blunt wrap. And it doesn't exactly align with the definition of a package wrap or hollow tube, which is what a blunt wrap is defined by. And as Bruce kind of mentioned, we consulted the list of prohibited flavored products and other products that we can't sell listed by the MAHB website. And also, as Bruce mentioned, we bought these blunt wraps from Rhode Island to kind of show that which we used to sell these like years ago, but now they've been prohibited for many, many years now in this state and town. But they're all listed as blunt wraps, while the Fronto King package, only thing that's mentioned, well, it's also non-flavored, just to make that clear, but it's also listed as a natural tobacco leaf. And so which is why we are selling this product. And as of now, we have removed the product, or as of a couple weeks ago, we have removed the product from our shelves and plan on continuing to cooperate with the town to enforce the age, flavor, and other rules put in place.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Board members, people have some questions?
You need to unmute Mary. Oh, can I unmute her?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Mr. Patel, did you have any question in your mind? I mean, you did look up to see if this was on the list because this was a new product. Is that why you looked it up and you weren't sure?
No, we've been selling this for, maybe 2-3 months. No.
Okay, but you looked it up originally when you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We looked up everything in our inventory, not just,
Right.
but because there was a lot of things that this year and last year that have been taken out. So we kind of checked everything. And so not just this, but.
So what did you think the leaf was for? What did you think that product was for? That leaf in the package, what did you think it was for?
People put cigarette tobacco inside. Yeah, well, we sell cigarette tobacco, and people use their own rolling machines at home, so they can roll it with that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Of course.
Oh, cool. So what?
Sure.
It's very, I think it's incredibly confusing for the retailer, and just based on the letter that Bruce quoted from Bob Collette about the company itself is trying to aggressively make it so it doesn't look like a blunt wrapper. I 100% understand why the retailer was confused. The packaging looks totally different from the one that they bought in Rhode Island to the one that they have, that they were selling.
I agree. I had an example of it just that Director Murphy had given me. So you're absolutely right. It looks very different, the packaging as well as the product itself, which looks like a tube.
In the wording
I
on,
would have been confused also.
yes, the wording on the package, the other ones, you can feel the tube inside, and it says blunt right on the package.
Yeah, I think the key part of the definition of a blunt wrap in the
The regulation,
in the town regulations are that it's a hollow tube. I mean, that's,
correct.
Well, at the time, I don't think we anticipated that they would be trying to bamboozle people like that. So, yeah, I think that needs to be changed.
tobacco companies are really good at bamboozling, right?
Yep. And making
I
money.
have a question. Hello?
Yes,
Charlie,
Charlie.
you're on.
Yeah,
Hey, welcome.
does this package say blunt wrap on it?
No, it
No.
does not.
Okay, he's getting busted for selling a blunt wrap, but it doesn't say blunt wrap. Now I'm confused.
Well, we're
Is it being
discussing-
marketed under another name or something, or what?
I don't know when you came on and we looked at the package together. No, it doesn't say blunt on it. This is why we're having that discussion. There's a vagueness here, there's a gray
Well,
area.
the only thing I can say is if he has been fined for selling a blunt wrap, but this doesn't say blunt wrap on it, I'd like to know how that works.
Well, that's my exact question. That's why I brought it to the board, because there seems to be, it's not very clear. The county's interpretation is it would still be considered a blunt wrap product. I'm not sure that falls within our regulation. As board member Mr. Weston said, that it would really be considered a blunt wrap because it's not a hollow tube.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's really just a flat leaf that people could buy
Yeah.
additional tobacco and roll their own tobacco at home, which is allowed for people over 21. And it's not a flavored leaf, which they did check on. So to me,
I don't see where.
Yep, go ahead.
To me, I don't see how you can fine somebody for selling something that they're not selling. I mean, it's not a blunt wrap; it's a leaf, and that's not on the list of no's. If I'm to understand this correctly.
I have another question. What's the difference in terms of the end result? And I agree. I don't think we should be imposing any sort of penalty on these folks for this one. But for my own information, what is the difference in terms of purpose of this leaf or this tube? They both are to have tobacco put into them, correct? I mean, is that their purpose, both of them?
Correct.
Right, so. Okay,
It's just definition.
right. And the reason that the blunt is banned is because, it's tobacco, correct?
Correct. I think at a previous time, I think when we were discussing it with the board and the county, it was just another means of
Delivering.
delivering a tobacco product and a flavored tobacco product.
Okay,
I think times have changed a little bit. Now it's just a single leaf that it seems like somebody over age 21 could use it to roll their own home tobacco with. So I think you're right. We might have to relook at the regulation.
right,
Yeah, I agree. You could buy regular paper to roll something
Right.
also. So this just happens to be a leaf and it happens to be tobacco. So, yeah, I kind of agree. We could look at the regulations at another point, but I don't see there's a problem or that there's been a violation. That's just my opinion.
Right. Sounds like they've been very careful trying
Yeah.
to adhere to the regulation.
They have been.
Director Murphy, do we need to vote on this?
Yes, I would make a vote because we want it to be officially on record. So if we see it at another store, or we can send an advisory out to our other retailers that the board has looked at this one particular product, it's non-flavored and would be allowed at this time to be considered a non-blunt. So I think a vote to that effect would be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't we go ahead and we can put some closure on this at least. So anyone can make a motion there?
I have a question.
Oh.
So we can continue selling this or no?
That was going to be my question.
I would say yes, if the board
Good.
considers that it's not
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
a hollow blunt tube, that they would be able to continue to sell it.
Well, that'll depend upon the vote, obviously. So it looks like if we're not going to have a violation, it looks like it's something that's okay to sell. That'll be pretty clear. And I think we all know which way the vote's going. So.
But what, is there any implication with a county inspector?
No, they work with us and we explain to them how we're looking to explain our regulations, which is a little different from town to town. And I don't think any other towns have really discussed this question or have looked into it yet. So I think they will follow our recommendation within Yarmouth.
But basically, the leaf and the blunt, they're both tobacco products and they both serve the same purpose. Right?
Correct. Correct.
So if we're going to ban blunts, then ultimately, and I understand we're not going to deal with the regulation tonight, but we would be banning the leaf also. I mean, because
Correct.
that's the same thing. Okay, so I think it's a little misleading to tell the retailers it's okay to sell that when we know that it's probably not going to be okay as soon as we get a chance to look at the regulation. Probably, I don't know.
But until the board does that, we probably work with the county, see what other towns are doing, review it. If they wish to sell it on their own behalf, then that would be the choice they would make individually.
Then I don't think we should be banning blunts either. What's the difference? What's the difference? Except blunts, I guess, would be easier to use. You wouldn't have to roll it.
We speak.
Sure, go ahead.
Usually blunts are always flavored. Like there's not an unflavored blunt. That's why.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
These are all flavored.
Those are the ones you got from Rhode Island?
Yeah.
I think that's what took place. I had a strawberry one delivered here to the house. So, okay, again, why don't we move ahead then? If someone makes a motion and we can finish this.
I move that the tobacco violation on the part of the A to Z convenience store at 1011 Route 28 South Yarmouth, Massachusetts for the Fronto King blunt wraps for sale be without penalty on the part of the Yarmouth Board of Health because the product that was sold does not meet the definition of a blunt. And the retailers carefully looked up the product before selling it and determined that.
Very clear. Thank you, Mary. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, so all in favor of the motion, just raise your hand. We can see that. Okay.
Can't see
Mary,
mine.
is your hand up? I'm about to ask you. Okay, is your hand up, sir? Charlie, are you raising your hand in favor of the motion?
Yes, I'm raising my hand.
We can see it now. That's great. So it's unanimous, and so there will not be a violation invoked, okay? In the packet, though, let's look at something else. It looks like there was a food establishment inspection report here also, Director Murphy, that you had included in the packet, right? There were a couple of other issues dealing with expired food. That was all. Just any comments perhaps from the owners. That's something we apparently found there on the shelf, some food from back in February that was obviously expired.
For us?
Well, yeah, you're the owners of the store. So our concern was it was picked up in the inspection. There were a couple of things, but the main thing was concerning food that was very much out of date. The dates, had expired. So I was wondering what took place. There were some sandwiches that were expired, and there was some cracker cheese that was three months old. Just wondering what took place there with those items.
I don't, well, we kind of, I don't think we saw this.
It was a June 29th inspection. It's the same time I think the tobacco issue was picked up on, the one we just voted on. So it was just,
We don't have it on our, we have our inspection sheet right here.
okay, that's tough to make out. Director Murphy, do I have the right information?
I don't have the sheet in front of me. It's still on the inspector's desk, but I can take a look at it. But maybe we can just ask them what their policy is for checking dates of product and their turnover rotation.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah, that was-
sorry, we usually check every day, every couple of days to make sure our shelves are have a good date on them. And it might, if anything, it might have been because of the whole COVID situation where we were short-staffed and just didn't have. I don't know. We were closed for a couple of days, so that might have been just tough getting through that. But usually our shelves look pretty good. I don't see any violations or anything written.
Yeah, it's tough to pick out. What was included in mine, and I'm not going to tell you it's correct in that the copy I took off our packet, which was online, just said a couple things. One, sandwich is about being a week old, and there were some cracker cheese items that were from February and March that had expired back then, and that's all. And then there was one issue of no paper towels in the bathroom. Those are the items that were picked up on your inspection.
Well, we'll definitely have to check that all out and make sure we're keeping all of our items in date and stuff.
Okay,
And we can-
Director
we can
Murphy, maybe
follow-
you can just, maybe after the meeting sometime later in the week, just find out, make sure that they have copies that are correct of the inspection, that's all. Or perhaps I have the wrong information, so let's just see what's out, okay?
We'll do a re-inspection this week.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to number 3 on the agenda. It's an update, coronavirus. And that's going to include some statistics, graphs, charts.
Good. You want to put me up on the screen? On the side? Myself and Hillary.
We can see you over there on the right.
Oh, you can see me?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. What we have is the active cases that we're following now, and we can see the active cases have come right down. We've had 0 for several days. You can see we still have the spike back in May 6th through the 20th was probably the highest. then we've had people recover. You go down just a little bit, just show it down, go down a little bit more, up, no, the other way, a little bit more, right there. So you can see that we have, overall, we've had 129 positive cases. Currently, we have 1 active case. We've recovered 125, and we've had 3 deaths. So that just shows you we're still monitoring everything. Thank you. And working with the VNA on the contact tracing. So I think this shows you the total recovered to date, and it just shows you as we've been talking the last couple months about flattening the curve, this is a good visual inspection of, in fact, what it looks like. The next
Great.
statistic that we have, if we go to the next chart, Mr. Chairman, I think you can update. This is one that you monitor for the department and the board.
Yeah, I mean, second graph looks good too. I mean, we're doing well as we could, I think. Obviously, there are people still getting sick, still people who are dying. We're just looking at Yarmouth, and numbers have come down. Apparently, there was another positive on the 16th and another one on the 19th. So that's the this week. But
Yes, you can, and
we'll
you
see.
can
Let's
also
go
see a number of
right
days or weeks that we had no cases at all for a period of time.
It's great. Director Murphy, have there been any issues with the fire police? Just want to be kept up to date of where cases are, addresses and so on. How's that work?
We still notify them of any new case. Phil touches base anytime a positive case comes in. Automatically, he sends it to police and fire, yourself and myself.
Right, I've been getting them, but just feedback from them. It's working okay?
Yeah, working okay. They say fine. They are receiving it and appreciate staying right up to date with it.
Great, okay. Thank Phil for us.
I will. He's putting a lot of hard work into that. Phil puts a lot of hard work into that and working with the VNA. It's a daily thing that he watches. Okay, so that kind of brings us into just as a general update, we have I just wanted to go back to the board, the Yarmouth outdoor seating applications that we have. We've had 20 applications come in to us. We've reviewed 16, and you can see that the date they came in, I was able to review them that day, so we're able to move them along in the permitting process through also being reviewed by building department and fire department. Then it goes upstairs to liquor license office, and then finally to the town administrator, Dan Knappich, to sign the application. So haven't had any new ones. Probably the newest one that we've had working its way through right now is the Yarmouth House that we just received the information that just started. But some are still serving outdoors. I think the public has found they've enjoyed outdoor dining. They still like the outdoor dining more probably than indoor, and it's working out very well for the restaurants in town. And I would think that we'll probably see, probably continued over to next year, their requested work with the town for continued outdoor dining. One, for the health-wise, we'll have to look at their septic capacity and look at indoor and outdoor capacity together. And then there'll be zoning questions because a lot of them are in their front buffer zones and setbacks. So there'll be some zoning that will have to be discussed through Board of Appeals or Planning Board over the winter. So I just wanted to, let everybody know that outdoor dining is going well, and we're able to work with the businesses on that. Okay.
Board members, any comments on that? Is that the restaurants? Anything?
Okay. You want to just pull up the agenda? You want to go back to the agenda first here? Oop. There we go. So just under number, that kind of brings us in, Mr. Chairman, to number 5 on the reopening phase, on phase 3. I'm going to come back to the high school graduation plan, but within phase 3, indoor swimming pools were allowed. Phil's gone out and inspected them. I did about six or 8 over the last week and a half, getting people ready. So that's working fine. The 2 indoor gyms are now open, Planet Fitness and Mid-Cape Racket. I have visited both of them, and they have outlined the gym equipment and closed down gym equipment that's been close to each other. I have reviewed their sanitation plans of how they clean it, how they have their sanitizers available, and they're both using fog machines, disinfectant machines, so they're working out very well. The Woodham Museum opened up about a week and a half ago on a Thursday. It was great to see them open up. They have, when you walk in, they have people go, obviously you have to wear a mask. Same with the gyms. You have to wear a mask when working out unless it was, I believe, on the treadmill. But within the museum, they have people wear a mask and they start you off in groups of, I think, 6 or 8. So they space people out. There are 3 hands-on displays during the museum tour when you go, self-guided tour when you go through. And at both those stations, they have sanitized bottle with a sign that you can sanitize your hands. And then they also have staff go through every hour to disinfect touch points and the points within the walking tour. The ABCC alcohol violation of the 1 bar that was found to be selling alcohol at the bar in violation of the governor's orders has not been officially sent to the town. I did put another call in today, and I've had several calls, and they have not released officially the name yet, so I am continuing to follow up on that violation. Pardon? The complaints, we're still receiving several complaints a week of almost daily on the beaches, either people calling, it kind of ties in all together, 1, 2, and 3, people not wearing masks after they park and walk down to the beach. We've had that at several of the beaches, including the town beach at South Middle, the resident-only beach that people aren't walking from, using a mask walking down. The boardwalk, people not always using their mask on the boardwalk, and whether that's at Gray's Beach that we think of on the north side. But we've also had a few at Colonial Acres on the south side, the Inn of Baxter, where there is a small, I wouldn't call it a boardwalk, it's more of a bridge over to the Colonial Acres Beach that people have not been wearing masks at times. All the beaches are posted with information of wearing a mask, social distancing. They are also monitored by DPW gate staff and lifeguard staff as supervisors drive through the beaches. We have met with, the office has met with recreation superintendent that at a couple times over the last week, they've had to close down some of the parking at the beaches because they were noticing that too many people were on the beaches. So they self-imposed a parking limit, and they're going to post when the beaches are closed, if it's too many people on the beach, on the town's website, so people driving will know if the beach is closed, so they just don't circle around South Shore Drive beaches or try another beach. Hillard and myself, the chairman, gave an update to the Board of Selectmen last Tuesday on the school graduation plan that I'm coming back to, but on the beaches. and discussion was on the Grays Beach and Boardwalk. The other concern on Grays Beach was the current and riptide, because at low tide, it's so low that you can walk right across the Chapin Beach. And what we're finding is a lot of people from Dennis are coming and going to the parking lot, and either Yarmouth people or other towners are coming in and using the beach, because there's no sticker person checking that. There's no attendant required by the selectmen this year. And there's been complaints about parking. So they're going to put a parking sign, signs are up, and they're going to put a information sign up about parking. And they're also going to add the dangerous current or riptide to the electronic board that also mentions social distancing. I have not had any other direct calls from either DPW or the rec department on issues on the beach. Most of them we receive from residents on concerns.
Bruce, how do you follow up with the residents?
Well, the calls that we get in, I talk to the residents that we understand the calls coming in. I make sure that they know that we have signs posted at the beaches. We try to keep the education out there by the 3 electronic signboards that we have at the beaches, plus the one at the recreation office on 28. And we just try to keep the education as much as we can. But as we find out, whether it's the beaches, some of the grocery stores or retail stores, there are people that just don't wear a mask, and becomes very confrontational when asked to put a mask on. So it's very difficult. And I think all towns are seeing that.
Do you get in touch with the retailer and talk about?
Yes, we do. If we get a complaint from a retail store, we do either visit them or give them a call and let them know that we've received a complaint. It's either sometimes, not often, it's been the work staff within a retail store, but sometimes it's been customers either waiting or inside a retail store that have just refused to put a mask on. And we've heard from other residents or customers on those sometimes heated discussions. And I think, and at times, I think it's putting sometimes the retailers in difficult positions, because sometimes they're just young employees and high school age employees that finding themselves in difficult positions when they're telling people they should put a mask on.
Do you think that this move by some of the major big box masks in their stores will help?
Did you pick that up? Could you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
Do you think that the recent move by some big box retailers to require masks in their stores nationwide will help?
I think it will help. I think we are seeing, in general, more people wearing masks, adults and children, and little children when they bring them in. So I think that will help. And I think that's part of the education. There's up at the retail stores. I think you go into the grocery stores, you see them. In the retail stores, you also saw them. So I think that's a good point, that will help in the part of education. Okay, if I could scroll down to the high school graduation plan, put together by a working group at the high school. Here we go, right there. This was a draft put together. We've been discussing back in June. This is probably like draft number 2 or 3, put together by Nick Passerowska, the police resource officer, working with the high school group of Principal Funk, several other staff people, along with maintenance and grounds that were included. So it's a pretty detailed plan. We presented it along with the principal and the resource officer, the chairman and myself, to the selectmen last Tuesday, of just how the plan would go. You can see the graduation date is this coming Saturday, the 25th, and they're going to hold it at 9 o'clock in the morning to try to beat any of the hot weather coming in. You got the estimated time and durations. The students come in at 8. They have rehearsal this week, so they'll know the social distancing between students, 6 feet coming in. There'll go be 2 lines graduating, going into the stadium, also 6 feet apart. The at 900, it says a cap toss that has been taken out. I had recommend that taken out, so there wouldn't be any extra touching and walking around to look for their caps. It's a very tight time frame. It's tighter than each year. There'll be very brief speeches, and it will go very smooth. I think they're mentioning the importance of social distancing to the students this week through a few of their activities and practices. You want to just scroll down? I think we have another page. So as part of the plan, students will observe, again, social distancing. They'll have the area marked when they come in and so forth. What we keep scrolling down a little bit, they'll have 2 separate columns, 6 feet apart. The principal will be passing out the diplomas with a gloved hand. We'll be going that way. All guests will be required to wear a mask and comply with social distancing and seating capacity. On seating capacity, the working group worked very hard looking at the numbers, looking at what the attendance in both the bleachers would be, and looking at blocking off every other bleacher, and looking at seating so nobody would be sitting in front of you or behind you. The staff marked off the bleachers, as a matter of fact, so we could go out and look at it, count the numbers in pods. And then after that was done, the working group looked at as there's 185 graduates that each had 2 tickets that would cover the seating. And even with that, 2 extra rows of bleachers were going to need to be put in with some portable chairs along the side. There'll be, this has gone out to the parents, so that will be checked on 3 gates entrance. The students will be asked to inform their parents of which side they'll be sitting on the football field will be the students, that if they're sitting closer to the away side, the parents should come in through the tennis courts and sit on the away side. So it's important for the students to be communicating with their parents, and that has been referred to the kids a couple times again in practice in senior week. So that's how we, the group came up with the 2 tickets, was looking at the seating that was laid out. In attendance that day for overall supervision, besides police from Yarmouth and Dennis, will be fire department CERT teams that help out with the parking, along with several teachers on guidance coming in at the gates. So I think it's a good plan. The committee came together when it was written up. So I just wanted to touch base with the board. We don't have it's quite a few plan pages, but I tried to just give the highlights here for the people looking at home, which we can see is underlined that the benches will be marked with tape where people can sit and what spaces had to be left open. Post-ceremony, we'll get the students out as quick as they can go, and instructed to go right in to their cars and discouraged with any after post-celebration. So it looks like a good plan. They'll be working on it this week in discussions with the seniors. The event will also be streamed live, so people that feel they didn't get the tickets or needed to get in, they can watch it live at home. And I believe it's going to be both on the school website, and they're hoping to get it up on live school TV also. Where you going? What are you doing? Oh, just, yeah, wait, yeah. So that's where we sit on the school education plan. Is there any questions on that?
Yes,
Bruce, yeah, thank you
Yes.
for the, I know you spent a lot of time with the working group. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, board members, any comments? It's a
yes.
big plan
I
there.
I have a question. Regarding the masks, will the seniors all be provided with masks? And when will they wear them?
They
It's
will
not-
wear them. Yes, they will be provided with masks. DY is providing the seniors with a DY senior mask, which is very nice.
Mhm.
And they'll be provided them, so they'll put them on when they exit their cars. So
Okay,
they'll have them on all the time.
all the time.
Yes.
Wow. So how did the select board receive this plan?
Well, I think after it was presented, how we came up with the numbers and did that, the rest of the plan, which is, as you can see, is quite a bit, was presented by Principal Funk, and was received very well. I think after they realized what the numbers and social distances that you were going to need, similar to what was done at town meeting by spacing the public out at town meeting, or even spacing the public now out at town hall at the selectmen meeting. If you looked at it, it was only half a dozen chairs or a dozen chairs in the hearing room. So I think the program that was presented by the principal was well received. The
Thank-
resource officer was also available for the presentation with the selectmen also. I did ask them to attend the selectmen meeting with myself and the Hillhead, because it was more than just the number of tickets that needed to be discussed, but the whole plan itself. It's a very detailed plan.
Good work.
Yeah, the work group did a great job, obviously, determined to have a great
Ceremony.
graduation ceremony. At the same time, trying to reduce the risk of viral transmission at the event. I mean, this is a mass gathering. It's going to be over 600 people there. And it's safe to assume there'll be somebody there who's probably COVID positive. Someone probably doesn't
Right.
have symptoms, but will be there. And I think we can only hope that the attendees don't put their personal needs ahead of their social responsibility to the residents of the town. That's all. That people are very patient and are considerate. Let's hope so. The plan is great.
Okay, thank you. That will bring us down, Mr. Chairman, to number 6 on the agenda, an update on the water quality of our sampling of salt and freshwater ponds and beaches. And I think we have a sheet that we can now scroll back to. There we go. No, just one. Nope, you're right there. Yeah, just give that a, yep, one more. There you go. So you can see we sample and work with the county health department. We can scroll down a little bit more, but we sampled 29 beach locations in town weekly. They have all come back passed, which is great. The weather's warming up, so that's always a concern. Rain is also a concern if we get wash off from any bacteria that might be close to any of the beaches. But so far, all the beaches have passed. We do post the information up on the town's website under the health department, so people can just check themselves. But we do ponds and beaches. Every Monday is our test day, and we have results up by every Wednesday. So I just wanted to give the board an update on that also.
Thank you.
So with this hot weather, enjoy the beaches.
From a distance.
Social distance, that is correct. That brings my conclusion of the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Right, thanks. Okay, so Number 7 here is new or old business.
Um,
For you,
Yes.
Director Murphy, or any board members?
I have an item. A few meetings ago, the chairman mentioned that he had reached out to the chair of the Board of Selectmen requesting a meeting, so that maybe we could discuss some of the things that have gone on with the response, the town's response to the pandemic, to the coronavirus pandemic. And at the time, Hillard, you said you hadn't heard back from the chair. I wondered if that had changed at all. And if not, I would like to request that we send a formal letter from the Board of Health to the Board of Selectmen, particularly now that there's a little bit, well, at least one new member, requesting that we have a joint meeting and talk about what's happened, what we think has gone well, what hasn't gone so well, what maybe, if there's any misunderstandings or misconceptions, misinformation, etc.
Yeah, I had not heard back. It was weeks ago from the selectmen and town manager as well. But a couple of days ago, I actually did hear from Mark Forrest, who's the new chair. And
Oh, okay.
spoke with him twice now.
Mhm.
But perhaps we can put together a formal meeting. That would be great. And so we can move forward and coordinate our efforts, which I certainly think we need to do.
I mean, after usually an emergency or a disaster or a crisis of some sort, you get together and you kind of look at what you did, and look at what went well, what didn't go so well. And I'm just thinking, we're not through this yet, but it's perhaps a good time to take stock of what's happened and what we can continue with and maybe do better.
Yeah, if you look at the country, we're not in a second wave. We're still in the first wave, and it's getting worse. So, yeah, so I can speak with Director Murphy. Maybe we can set something up.
Okay.
Any other new or old business?
I would say to the board, we will have I'm just going to check my calendar now, a meeting in 2 weeks because we weren't able to, 2 applicants weren't able to get their information into us for tonight's meeting. So it looks like we'll have a meeting the first week of, it's either going to be the first or second week of August.
August 3rd?
Yes, we have a septic repair
Okay.
that they need to go forward with for a sale of a home, that the engineer is just finalizing the plans up now and the notifications. And we have a business that wish to do boat storage. So I would say August 3rd would be the next board meeting. We should be hearing from both the applicants this week to confirm that they're willing to go forward. So if the board could pencil in August 3rd for right now, we'll finalize that this week.
Okay.
Bruce, will it be in person or will it be a Zoom meeting again?
I would assume it's going to be a Zoom meeting. That's my feeling about this right now.
Absolutely.
Well, this board feels differently.
Nope.
Eric, Deborah?
How much longer is this going to be enacted over the phone instead of at the regular town hall for meetings? Does anybody have any idea when we can start meeting again in person?
I certainly don't know. We're just looking out for you. I don't know when that will happen. You have some feelings about it?
Yeah, I think this town ought to think about getting moving again instead of staying stagnant.
Seems to me we're able to conduct the business pretty well this way.
I think
So
over,
I take it you're all for keeping it over the phone indefinitely then, correct?
I would be, actually, yes.
I can tell you, I'm on a number of committees, I'm on a number of boards, and they've all been handled remotely. Every single one of them. I haven't been at a meeting in months in person.
So evidently you're for keeping it like this indefinitely. That's what I said, correct?
Until conditions change, yes, that's what I'm in favor of, but I'm open for discussion about it. I think the board needs to make a decision. Certainly someone who, people should be able to feel safe, that's all. And so it's complicated, but anyone else have some feelings about it moving forward, about the meetings, whether to do them in person or remotely?
I'm fine with remote. I just was curious.
I'm also okay with remote.
Okay,
Bruce, do you miss us? Are you okay with remote?
either way is fine with me.
Okay.
certainly.
I'm at the town office right now.
Right.
And we like the flowers.
We like the
Yep.
flowers. This is
They
still
stay
going
so
well.
fresh. They
Yes.
stay so
Fresh.
fresh. It's amazing.
So I just had one question sort of directed towards Bruce, and it might be kind of a silly question, but someone had reached out to me and asked why the town buildings were remaining closed, and their concern was for elderly folks being able to access them for information regarding town operations. I guess their concern was for some folks who don't have internet access. I know they could call in to get information, and I know the robocalls have been going out and everything like that, but I just, for me to be able, I'm just looking to be able to provide her with a little bit better answer than I was able to give her. So I'm looking for your input on that, Bruce, or anyone else.
Well, that's a great question with great timing, because tomorrow Town Hall is going to start opening 10 to 2.
Cool.
At least upstairs, they'll be able to come in, do business with the upstairs office, assessing clerk's office, paying any tax bills, looking up marriage licenses and so forth, like that. So that will be open. They were waiting to open up any sooner because they're waiting for all the plexiglass to come and to have the safety shields put up. So that's going to be in line. So that will start next week for at least the upstairs offices. Downstairs offices of Health Department, Building Department, Board of Appeals, Old Kings Highway, Planning, Conservation, will still be either by calling up or making an appointment. It's tough to make an appointment to come in, because then after somebody comes in, you have to disinfect and sanitize the area, and hopefully they don't go through somebody else's office. So the town is moving forward to up and online, that they'll be letting 4 people in at a time starting tomorrow at 10.
Great, thank you.
Eric, you can sign up for text alerts. Oh, you can't see that, but you can sign up for text alerts. I got an alert on my phone this morning that the town hall was opening tomorrow. Pretty neat.
Great, thank you. And that's right on the website?
Yep.
Cool, thank you.
Any other?
Yes, the other point of information I just wanted to provide the board is our intern that we've had work with us last year, Meredith, the graduate of UMass Public Health Program position internship has been extended by the town administrator. So we're very excited to have her continue with us, that she's helping in the housing program, the housing inspector, by scheduling and doing housing inspections, which is great because that whole program will pay for itself. And that position will be in for a full-time position in the next go around with the budget. We also have Meredith going on Mondays up to the senior center to help out, pass out meals to the elderly on the drive-through. She's been a very helpful and well appreciated assistant up at the senior every Monday and first Friday of the month and month dates also. She's been terrific, terrific help, and it was nice to see her internship extended.
Good.
I agree. Anything else, old or new? If not, one more item, and that's a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second, someone?
Second.
All in favor, just raise your hand, or Charlie say yay.
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 Okay, that's unanimous. This meeting is over. Stay healthy, everyone. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks.